We're going to do a few more word problems where they might take more than one step. So let's go. Now this problem isn't exactly multi-step, but it's a little bit different than the ones I did in my first video on basic word problems. If Beth subtracts her age from 56, she gets 31. All right, so what are we looking for? We are looking for how old Beth is. So let's say Beth's age is, well, how about B for Beth? All right, so it says, if Beth subtracts her age from 56, a common mistake is for people to write B minus 56, but that means she's subtracting 56 from her age. So we want to start with 56 and subtract her age. Okay, make sure you see the difference. We're subtracting her age, so we're going to have the minus sign in front of her age to get 31. All right, so we hadn't done a problem where you subtract the variable. That's okay, we can do it. There are a couple ways to do this problem. One is to just isolate the b by subtracting 56 from both sides. Another way is to add b so it's on the other side of the equation, and that way it'll be a positive sign in front of it. I like that way. So if my b is going to be on the right-hand side, I'm going to add b to both sides. Okay. At the same time, I'm going to subtract 31 from both sides so that I only have b on the right-hand side of the equation. All right, so what do we have here? 25 equals b. All right, now we're not looking for b, we're looking for Beth's age. So that should be our answer if we did it correctly. Beth's age is 25, or you could say Beth is 25 years old. Now let's go back to the words and see if this makes sense. If Beth subtracts her age from 56, all right, so for the check, she's going to subtract her age from 56. So she's got to start off with 56 and subtract her age. And we do get 31. Now if you did it the other way around, like you wrote the problem down incorrectly as b minus 56, you would notice that you would get a really large age for Beth. You would get that she was 87. And obviously if she subtracted 87 from 56, she'd have a negative number. All right, so be very careful the way you write the equation and especially check it. Also keep in mind that you could solve this equation in more than one way. Okay, 56 minus b is the correct equation, but you may have solved it a little bit differently than I did. Let's do one more problem like this. Try this on your own. If Tammy subtracts her weight from 250, she gets 140. How much does Tammy weigh? Put it on pause and try it on your own. All right, let's start off with Tammy's weight. How about T for Tammy? And she's going to subtract it from 250. So that means if you're subtracting something from 250, you've got to start out with 250 and then subtract something from it. So we're going to subtract T to get 140. It's just like the last problem we did. All right, so you could solve this in more than one way, but you should have gotten T equals 110. And let's do the check. If Tammy weighs 110 and she's subtracting that from 250, you're going to subtract 110 to get 140. Notice I didn't show the steps for solving this equation, but I trust you can work through that using the method I used in the previous example or some other method. So it looks like Tammy is 110 pounds. Tammy weighs 110 pounds. Okay. Let's go through just another way you could have solved this equation, by the way. You could have subtracted 250 from both sides. But then you got to be careful because you have this minus in front of the t, negative t. And remember that means negative 1t. And then you're adding a positive and a negative. negatives outweigh the positives, and you'd have to do 250 minus 140 to get negative 110. And then you could multiply both sides by negative 1 or divide both sides by negative 1 to get your answer of 110. So there's another way you could have gotten the answer of 110, and there are other methods you could have also used. All right, this is a bona fide two-step problem. When I multiply a number by 7 and add 13, I get 90. What is the number? Okay, so again, we read through the problem and we see we're looking for a number. So we have to call the number something. Let's call the number n. I'm going to keep that in red. Okay, so here's our solution. Now, if the number is n, what does it say to do? I'm going to multiply the number by 7 and then add 13. All right, so if the number is n, first I've got to multiply it by 7. So that means 7n, right? 7 times n means 7n. And then I have to add 13. I get, what's that mean? Equals 90. So there's our equation. Let's go ahead and solve it. Solving is the easy part. It's writing the correct equation that is the tricky part that you need to practice. So we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. So we get 7n equals 77. Oh, how convenient. Just divide both sides by 7. And we get 11. Now remember, we're doing a word problem. We want to answer the question. It does not say what's n. It says what is the number. So we say the number is 11. Now, this is a little bit tricky to check. Do not check it in your equation. Go back up to the words and see if it makes sense. It says, when I multiply a number by 7 and add 13, I get 90. All right, so let's multiply the number by 7. Well, we said the number is 11, so 7 times 11 is 77. And then what happens? It says, then I'm going to add 13. And I get 90, and it says, yeah, I'm supposed to get 90. That's how it goes. All right, so you're just going back and seeing if it makes sense given the words in the original problem. "50 less than 3 times a number is negative 2. Find the number." Okay, this might be harder to do in your head. Now, here's the tricky part. 50 less than something. That means I'm going to take away 50 from something. Just keep that in mind. Okay, first thing we need to do is see what we're looking for. We're looking for a number. So let's define the number. N. N for number. I like that. And here's the tricky part. 50 less than 3 times the number. So that means I've got to take away 50 from something. You don't want to write 50 minus something. You want to write, you're going to take away 50 from something. And what are you taking it away from? 3 times the number. What's that mean? Well, if the number's n, 3n would be 3 times the number. So look at this. 50 less than 3 times the number is written 3n minus 50. Be very careful you get that in the correct order. There's our nice little, equal sign. Get rid of this little part there. There we go. And what is it equal to? Negative 2. So the is breaks up the left side of the equation with the right side of the equation. Okay, now we need to solve for n. So first let's add 50 to both sides. So we have 3n is 48. And then divide both sides by 3. So n is 16. So that's not the answer. We want to write the number is 16. And of course, we need to go back to the words and make sure this makes sense. It says 50 less than 3 times the number is negative 2. Well, if the number is 16, what is 3 times the number? Let's do that. 3 times 16, that's 48. Okay? Then it says we're going to do 50 less than that. So I now need to do 48 minus 50. And what's that equal? Negative 2. Just like it's supposed to. Awesome. So we got the correct answer, and the number is 16. Keep practicing the word problems. Takes a while, and then it becomes easy, fun. You're solving puzzles, doing riddles, etc.